And away we go. Hello again.
Hi, it's a sunny November day, November 9th.
Unbelievable. Look at the sun coming through my windows. I have the shades down on the big
Yes.
ones. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
like 74 degrees in New York.
And we have 70 something down here in Virginia and blue skies.
Blue skies.
Blue
It's
skies.
so
It
this
is
is
gorgeous.
the Nancy and Kacey show. Shining light on you and your relationship.
Exactly.
That has been established. And
Yes, it
we're
has.
to talk about entanglements.
Mhm.
And we are both experts on entanglements in different ways. I create them and live them, and Nancy
And it seems like we both know them from the inside out too.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So let's get to the basic groundwork down. What is an entanglement?
Yeah, I our listeners, I suggested to Kacey that we discuss this because the first two shows we've been showing you the book and we've been making reference to it. And so starting today, I said, well, let's sort of start at the very beginning and move through. So the word, Kacey, entanglement came up for me probably in the mid 1990s. I think it came from a personal experience of feeling like an entangled relationship is one where I don't, one, feel free to be myself. I am afraid to either speak my truth or act on my own behalf. It can also be one in which I am so overly focused on someone else or engaged in them that I have lost the connection with myself. Either way I want to put it, it is a loss of connection with self. I have my circles again, everybody, just to, because I'm so visual, just to remind us. And I'm often yellow and the other person is blue. And so to me, Kacey, an entanglement is where for either one or both of us, we are so overlapping, which is not the problem, but it is that I cannot allow myself to separate and or the other person does not allow me. So we sort of stay, the entanglement is the sort of caught in the web notion, caught and not able to healthily extract and have a healthy self, honor a healthy self, and go back and forth. So the entanglement is really not hardly being able to express myself for thinking about and being preoccupied with the other person, both of those things.
Let's talk to the people who have spent their whole life like that in every relationship.
Right, exactly. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my feeling is now, Nancy is the therapist and the professional here. I'm just the professional student. Um, my feeling is that kind of relationship doesn't just pop up all of a sudden when you're 32 years old and gee, I have an entanglement. I think
Right.
you've probably had many entanglements leading up to that point. And I think sometimes in some households, and I don't want to get too narrow or too negative, but I think
Okay.
sometimes in some households, you can have the first entanglement is with your own parents.
Exactly. And again, here we are, because I workshopped this somewhat. If child parent, appropriate early on, appropriate at birth, but the goal, of course, is that the child is able to grow and cultivate a self, and the parent remembers all the things they love to do, and all of a sudden can have a little time and space to do that. And there's a healthy separation so that a healthy self and a healthy self, which then child parent can then interact again. But if the child does not feel free to separate, and I'll come back to that, yeah, the entanglement blossoms right there. And Kacey, it can come from a couple of things. One, the parent could give messages, and this is a super common thing, of "don't leave me," and that of "stay our child," or "we need you to be here." And that happens at an assortment of levels. It can happen in dramatic ways where there's an honestly chaotic family system, and we can't let you go off to college because we need you here in the house, to just subtle little messages from the parent that says, oh, you can keep living here, and that you don't want to spend your money on an apartment right now.
Mhm.
And yeah, I see you smiling. It's sort of like there are these messages that make that separating and becoming that healthy self more challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
I told you my mother bought my clothes till I was in my 30s, right?
I don't think we've had the conversation, but you and me and my colleague Margaret, shout out, hey Margaret, for camp, have had the same conversations. Okay, so again, everybody, with due respect to our parents who mean well,
Mm.
and I didn't even realize that I was allowing my mom to clothe me until I was in my late 20s. And I was in a show, a play. I had moved away 2.5 hours away from home, and I was in a play, and I was to find it was a pedestrian play. It didn't require fancy costumes. And so I needed to find a costume for myself. And it was in the doing of that I realized that nothing I had in my closet I had picked out or bought. Mm-hmm. What was your version?
Okay. I think I say in my 30s, but I might have been 29. Did you say you were 29?
Yeah. It was when I moved out here, so I might have been 27, a
Yeah.
little earlier.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I was 29. My mother's father passed away. And wonderful man. And we knew it was coming. He was in his 80s, and he hadn't been well for a little while. We knew it was coming. And he passed. And my mother said, the arrangements are on this and such day. And I'm going out this afternoon. I'll get us dresses. I have a younger sister. And whenever there was any occasion, good or bad, mother would go to Bloomingdale's to get the whatever.
Get us dresses.
Get us dresses. And I said, oh, no, Mom, you don't have to do that. A dress barn had opened up by us. And I said, I just got a dress the other day at Dress Barn, and I can wear that. And she was visibly like, I'd never said no before. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. It was just a simple blue dress. And it had I wore a shirt underneath it. So what do you call that? Like a jumper.
Uh-huh.
It was very casual, but
Uh-huh.
lovely. And I walked into the funeral home, and my mother gives me the up and down, and she says, so that's your new look? And I'm like, oh my God, she really hates that I bought my own dress. And I think it was the first dress I ever bought.
Right, exactly.
Because it was her commerce. That's the way she showed love. And
Yes.
she does.
Right, exactly.
This morning, she's 90. She texted me this morning, did you get the sweaters I sent you?
All right.
In the mail.
Yes.
That's her commerce. It's how she shows love. But also she took a great deal of pride in dressing her daughters, and then saying to the big Italian family, when they would say, oh, your daughters look so nice. Oh,
right.
I got this here and I got that. That was important to her. I'm not a shopper, so that was important to her.
Right. Yes. Kacey, it's all of that, isn't it? It's the honoring what you're saying, that was important to her. And it's also that shift where all of a sudden you're picking something she wouldn't pick. You're
Right.
picking a look that is different than what she wants. And in that moment, as we grow, I'm going to keep using the phrase self-recovery. That's my big, for about a year now, I've been using it, but I'm really clear that I want to keep helping us know that self-recovery is what we're doing. In that moment when Mom says, so that's your new look, we have to take a nice exhale and know and smile, or we don't have to smile, but accept, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And grow into that. I mean, that's in that moment where that self is growing because it's all so challenging. You and I wouldn't be able to have a show, a conversation about this if it could be a simple list, you
Right.
know, or a map. You know, Google Maps doesn't have shows about Google Maps because you just get from one point to the other and you're done, you know. But it's, we know how to do it, but it's very hard. And in that moment, you know, do you remember how you felt? Or I mean, you remember it.
Oh yeah, I'm still telling the story 25 years later or more, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember it, and I knew that it was a turning point. And in that moment, I learned so much. It was in that moment I realized, oh, she really liked to dress me. Oh, she's been dressing me my whole life. Oh, I don't even know what my favorite color is. And that's a
Ex-
true story. I didn't know. Whatever she
Exactly.
bought me, I put it on and loved it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
I love this phrase, self recovery, because I think no matter where you are in life, no matter what you go through, it's always self recovery.
Right.
And I don't know exactly how I got into this entanglement kind of relationship. And in so many ways, it doesn't even matter, right?
Right. No, it doesn't. It, what happens is it just matters that we wake up and realize um, that for most of us, it doesn't work for us. And then that we want to make a shift, which are things we'll be talking about in lots of the future shows. What do
Right.
we do then? So I'm not going to, you know, go into that. We do have a menu of shows coming up,
Yes,
folks.
we
We've
do.
laid it out.
Yes, we do.
Um,
It's going to be
but you know, I think that to answer your question through this beautiful example you've laid out about you and clothing, an entanglement would have been if you had, when your mom said, I'll go buy us dresses, and in that moment you thought, oh, I really want to use the dress I just got, but you said, sure, mom.
right.
And in that moment, okay, listeners, it's very fine line. Kacey could have said do that and felt okay about it. But if she did it and was like, no, I really do want to, I got this dress I like. That's where the entanglement is. And that's where self-recovery comes in. And with as much love, compassion, and clarity,
Right.
we say, I got my own dress.
Right.
Thanks.
And
Mhm.
for anybody watching who isn't there yet, who is still saying yes when they mean no,
Mhm.
it's all right too.
It,
It's all
it
right.
is.
You'll
It
get
is.
there.
You will, is if that's what you desire
Right.
for yourself. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, Kacey, I have a short list of things about why would people get entangled? How does this happen? Well, we're looking at it from a parent-child point of view, and absolutely that can have been so. Um, I mean, both of my parents are deceased, and I can still have moments where I think, oh, they wouldn't have liked that, or they wouldn't have agreed with something I said or did, you know. Um, and I still think of, oh, they would be pleased to know this, that, or the other.
Mhm.
But it's interesting that power lasts us a lifetime. And so if we have any myth that it'll fade, it won't. It's our own work that helps us, you know, become the adult to our parents who are adults, and you know, whether they're living or dead, and we know how to be who we are. But you know, wrote a little list of things. I'll reel them off as best I remember, about things that keep us entangled. I think I wrote people pleasing, if we're inclined to that, conflict avoiding,
Mhm.
um, if we are a fixer. I really wanted that on the list. I often run into people in my clients who really want to make a change, but they will openly say, but I'm such a fixer. And they mean it. They're almost proud. That's an identity.
Yeah.
Okay, so being a fixer, being a caregiver, not being able to say no is on the list. And I'm missing one, Kacey. You may have them right there.
Conflict avoider needs
Con-
control. Needs to
Control. That's the other one, right? Right. So read it off. I did. If you've got it there, read it off, folks. So the,
People pleasing, conflict avoiding, need to control, fixer, caregiver, trouble saying no.
right. So there's nothing wrong with that list. Being a fixer, a caregiver is part of our human life and are very good things. Pleasing other people, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to have a whole show on how I think about things on a continuum. But today I will say it's if we carry that, say, people pleasing too far, that can get us stuck. That can keep us from, if I'm more concerned about how you are, and in doing that, I'm not tuned in to how I am, then that balance is off and I'm very, very likely to not represent myself or know what I really think, or feel. Wonder how I ended up on a family vacation with 25 people when I just wanted a trip with my partner.
Right. Did that ever happen to you?
No.
Okay.
Just making stuff up.
Oh, all right. Because I can see that happening to me.
No, but I will say that family vacations do come up as examples of times where people haven't, all of a sudden they're in situations or with people that was not their choice. And again, they're tangled up in a beach house, and they're taking a lot of walks during the day so they can, yeah.
So this whole entanglement situation that we're talking about.
Yeah, Kacey.
Is it something that starts? I have 2 snoring pugs. If you can hear snoring, Rosie's snoring here, and Tucker, this is an extra chair I brought over for Tucker. Oh, he just
I wondered who it was for, the chair. I noticed the chair.
for Tucker, because otherwise he would sit right on my lap and I can't use my hands to talk. He's such a little nudge. I mentioned before, sometimes it starts at birth, but sometimes it doesn't, right? I mean, sometimes it can just pop up in a situation. I know I created the situation of people pleasing with a particular boss. To my peers, I'll be very clear about my boundaries, but to one particular boss that I guess I'm kind of afraid of or something,
No, I hear you.
I'm a people pleaser. And I'll tell you why, because his motives aren't clean. Do you know what I mean? He comes in with the "hey little darling" attitude.
Okay.
And I should have said in the very beginning, this isn't "hey little darling" material,
Right.
On to the next office.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
But I engaged, I took my role.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. He said it and you took it. Right.
And so that's an entanglement where the conversations sometimes hinge on almost dishonesty, because I'm letting him think I agree.
Right.
Don't know how to get out of this kind of dynamic that I helped create.
Yeah, it's a beautiful description of an entanglement. And the reason I extra appreciate it, Kacey, is because in a work setting, there is a hierarchy of, I keep showing my circles, and in almost every case, they're equal, whether it's, partners or parents and then parents and children. But a work situation does make it more difficult. I mean, I think that if you and I were chatting and that was a relationship with a friend of yours' husband, let's say, since we've made it a male, let's just do that. Yeah, if it was a friend of yours' husband, you and I might be talking about how to, I have lots of ideas about how to gently say, I've gone along, but actually, let me tell you really who I am, and we could do that. But a boss, do you think that is a factor? We'll talk more about it, but is that a factor for you?
Oh, absolutely. It was the craziest thing to watch be created before my eyes, and I'm participating in it, even though it went against every fiber in my being.
Right, exactly. Yes, yeah.
And now,
Are you, is it still going on or is it past? Or do you, huh?
and it's benign for the most part. It is still going on, but it's benign. It doesn't affect my
Right,
job. It doesn't affect my
right,
anything. It's
right.
just ridiculous. I know it's an entanglement. It's not a real friendship. It's not a real anything.
It's
And
how you relate it in that setting,
right,
in those roles, right? You know, Kissy, I will add one, sug- not suggestion. I call the many of my things, folks, I call ideas. I'm not even saying go do this or go try this. I lay out an idea, and then sometime between now and 30 years from now, that idea you may go, wait a minute, I have this idea. Um, but that would be if something in the interaction feels too untrue to yourself with this person, to just, still keep your friendly, bubbly self, but just say, actually, no, actually, I do see it a different way.
mhm,
Or actually, that's not so. And we don't have to make a big deal out of it, but all of a sudden, we're being a little bit truer to ourselves as we go along.
right.
Mhm.
So people pleasing, becoming on the continuum of people pleasing, to ratchet it down a bit, right? To ratchet it down to be less of a people pleaser, less of a yes woman,
Right,
a yes of a smiler nodder.
right,
How do we get there? How do we dial it back? What muscle do I need to grow so
right.
I am comfortable showing more of my true self?
Yeah, and again, that'll get a lot of that will be covered as over these. We've got 12 shows laid out. Today is 3 of those 12, folks. Um, I'm going to put it broadly today, but it's because it's what's fresh in my mind. And today we are going broad with entanglements, and we're going to work in. When I am not being true to myself, and that's the phrase, if I have already started to make a commitment to be as true to myself as I can, I will start noticing when I am not being true to either what I believe or how I think and feel, or even I'm not even being true to what I set up for myself in the day. Let's make it super simple, Casey. Let's say that my commitment is, well, I recently got a new Fitbit, and I'm all excited about all the different ways I'm using it for exercise and eating. And let's say that I'm very committed to that. So that's what's true for me. And then, um, something comes up on something comes up that wants to interrupt that either exercise or paying attention to the eating part of things. Let's make it the eating. Um, and even somebody says, oh, you can have that, or I don't know why, who said you need to lose weight, but whatever. Let's make it that simple. In that moment, I want to hear what they're saying, feel like they're lovingly, maybe delivering a nice message. But what is true for me is what? And really, really start waking up that internal gauge of, is this true for me or not? Mhm.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, good.
I love this. Waking
Good.
up the internal gauge of what is true for you. That's a
Mhm.
great starting point.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
but
I
before that,
mean,
you have
yeah,
to know what is true for you. You got to
yes,
spend some time.
yes. And so you start paying attention, and we're going to have a show on a deeper listening to self. But again, the broader pictures today are, yeah, I have to be willing to pay attention. My husband um, mentioned an old movie he wants to see. And I watched it once with him many years ago. Watch this, everyone. So my self-recovery has come over the course of my marriage of 35 plus years with my husband. In my early years, we watched this particular movie, and I didn't enjoy it at all. It's not a weird movie. It just, I'm not even going to name it though, because I don't want to get into, anyway. I didn't enjoy it. Um, I thought it was dark and chaotic, is what I told him. But I wouldn't have told him that. I was not true to myself. This is
Mhm.
so funny. This is a great example. You know, I think I watched some of it. I think I slept through some of it. Anyway, so just the other night, he said, I want to watch this again. And the True to Nancy had listened to me, and I was like, and then I shared, Kacey, I said, actually, you know, I didn't, I thought it was dark and chaotic, and I didn't get anything out of it. And I didn't want to, and so what we have right now is an agreement. We started it last night and watched the first, I'm only good for about 40 minutes and then I'm ready to go to sleep anyway. But the understanding is to be true to myself. If I just can't do it, I said, you watch it. I have plenty else I want to go do, and I'll do that. So, Kacey, it's that small.
Yep.
It's that small. It's the food we eat. It's the shows we watch. It's the, you know, it's the clothes we wear.
Right. It's the clothes we wear. So I have to know, Scarface or The Godfather? Did
No,
I?
The Seven Samurai is the movie.
I had never heard of that one. Are there knives?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's from the 1950s and it's black and white with subtitles. But I'll keep you posted, everyone.
Let me know how that goes.
Right. We are interested right now with everything going on in watching things that have to do with dark and light and pursuing the light and whatever. But the point, don't get distracted, everyone. This is what happens. The point is, what is true for me is I'm not sure this is what I want to watch, and
Right,
I'll keep listening to that.
right. So
Mhm.
listen to that little voice. Listen to that little voice. Um, when I speak often about self-care and self-love, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before because I use this phrase almost every day when I'm talking to women, to start the conversation with yourself, to
Yes,
start the conversation of self-care.
good.
The first thing you can do is pee when you have to pee. Women
Yay!
ignore it.
Yay!
They have to go to
Absolutely.
the ladies' room, but first they're going to send off 3 more emails and get in a load of laundry and let the dog out and feed the cat, and then they'll go to the ladies' room. But it's as simple as listening to what your body's saying. And if you can start with that, we often, I find, I often shut off listening to this,
Yes.
to all of this. I can
That's
shut it off.
beautiful. That's absolutely it. That is really good. And so I think that's a good way to pull together the ideas from today. I mean, the entanglements are when we have shut off connection with self, and the path out in a broad way, and lots of skills will be being added in. The path out is one to recognize, oh, I want to start paying attention to what's true for me. And I think to do it in a bodily way. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Do I have to pee?
Right. To be. So, people pleasing, conflict avoiding, a need to control, fixer, caregiver, trouble saying no, those are all some big headers that you can think about when you come across them, reflect.
And
Say,
yes, and be aware, not beware, but be aware that any of those can keep us stuck.
right,
And not, and keep us from freeing ourself to do, to watch the movie we want, to wear the clothes we want,
to
to
live
take care of our basic needs.
to live the life we want. And I think too, and if you find yourself to be any one of these things, um, don't beat yourself up.
Oh, not at all.
Yourself up.
Be excited that you see something maybe you had not seen before. because that will then help you to go the next step.
The day I found out I too was a control freak was a very good day. Maybe I'll tell you that story another time.
Well, you know what? We'll have to do a show on control because I have a story too.
Okay, good. I look forward to it. So we're good.
And we haven't hit on, Kacey, we'll come back to it. We haven't hit on it enough. Control is a big piece in here. So, you know, I don't know. We can make that our show next week if you want. I know I sent an agenda, but we can do that too.
We'll put control into next week's topic, and then we'll go on to whatever else.
Okay, that sounds great.
Because I don't feel the need to control it.
Exactly. I don't either. I don't either. And I'm going to stop here soon because maybe you have to go to the bathroom. Not you, the viewer.
Nancy, I enjoy our get-together so very much.
Same here, Kacey. Same here.
Again next week.
I hope you all are enjoying it too. We would love to hear from you.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.